welcome back to I Woke Up Today. Thank you so much for coming back, or if this is your first time, thank you for joining us. It's truly an honor to have you here. We do this with a lot of love, a lot of dedication, and just pure organic chemistry to deliver the best possible message to you every single day. Last episode
was a little bit dark, but we're happy.
Yes,
we made it.
And I think more than dark, it was an episode that we just genuinely wanted to show a vulnerable side of us as human beings, because we're just like everybody
a little
else.
Butterfly in
Yeah.
a cocoon.
Yeah. No matter how hard you can seem on the outside, you really are nice and gooey on the inside.
Yes.
So thank you for watching, and if you haven't watched, please go and watch. Very, very cool episode. So Gigi, how are you today?
I'm freaking fantastic. I woke up today.
I love it. See, I'm a personal mission to get that.
Oh yeah. He started yelling at me this morning. He's like, "So Gigi, how are you?" I'm like, "I'm good." He's like, "No, you woke up today." I'm like, "Yes, sir."
Exactly. You woke up today. So that is exactly what I want each and every one of you to think about that today. I woke up today. Remember, almost 9,000 people did not wake up today in the US alone.
That's right.
So super important to have that in mind. So today we have the special honor and privilege of having our amazing leader, Miguel, join us today. And it is just a true honor to have Miguel here on our set. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited because I feel in the Saturday night show with Jimmy Fallon. This is so pro. You guys are killing it. I'm so passionate about helping you as well to get into the more people that we can, because this show is full of value. So we need to.
We appreciate you so much for joining us.
We do. Thank you.
And so here we start off episode talking about what we are grateful for. So, what are you grateful for, Miguel?
I'm grateful for today, this morning. I'm grateful for you both, because you are pushing me to be here talking about my personal story, talking in front of microphones that sometimes make you feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
But definitely that driving force that you have, the initiative, the idea of being visible and help people, that's what really motivates me, and that's why I'm grateful for this morning.
It's an honor.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. It's an honor.
Absolutely.
So Hector, what are you grateful for this morning?
So I am very grateful for New American Funding and Miguel and everything that I have accomplished here and all that I have grown. So I had the opportunity to get an email from FedEx saying that I had a package on the way. And one of my favorite topics is on the way. Remember the sermon of on the way?
Yeah.
So,
yes, I do.
So I had prayed for last year to be at President's Council, which I got. Thank you. But I wanted, as an overachiever that I am, I wanted to be early and early on track and everything. And last year that didn't necessarily happen the way I wanted to. But God gave me that today in this year, and now I see that I have a package on the way from corporate, and I'm 99% sure that package is that, like, hey, you're on track for President's Council this year.
Or can be a layoff notice. Well, you never know.
Could be a layoff. A lot of work to lay somebody off.
A nice, beautiful box, like, hey, surprise.
Exactly. So I'm actually super grateful for that, because I envisioned it, I prayed for it, and I got it. And that's it. That's what life's about, right?
It really is.
Purpose. We talked about that in the last episode, right? Yes. Defining your purpose. And obviously my purpose is not work, but is achievement, right?
Yeah.
And setting an example.
I love it, because I have this quote that what you dream and what you plan, you definitely get it. So
yes, it's true.
I agree.
And you've worked so hard. Like, you honestly
harder than I'd like.
It's true. But you show a really good passion for
Thank you.
it. So
Thank you.
You really do a good job.
Thank you.
You motivate me. So.
And what are you grateful for, Gigi?
So today, going off the whim here, and I'm really grateful for you, Miguel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, he reached out to me.
No,
like
that's
maybe
not true. No, you reach out to me.
no, I think around like 5-6 years ago. And I think it was like 6 years ago. And he's like, hey, Gigi, you know, come join our branch. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Then I called him. And then I was like, hey, Miguel, you know, let's talk. And, you know, it's such a great experience. And thank you so much for trusting me and really making me flourish into something of that I didn't think I had. You know, you gave me a really great opportunity, and especially having my team as well. It feels really great having someone that really believes in you. So having someone that believes in you makes you, it switches something in your brain like, okay, all right, I'm confident. Yeah, I can do this. So I want to thank you so much, and Monica, for everything that you guys do for us.
Well, we are just simply creating the next generation of leaders because I don't see you both as an incredible top producers that you are and going to the next level in your production and in your personal numbers. It's more the people that is going to take care of this company for the future.
Thank you. It's awesome.
Thank you. So let's dive right into our interview today. So we want to talk about Miguel, the man, the personal side of your life. And I know your amazing story, and, you know, we've spent a lot of time together and just always hear more and more. And the more I learn about you, it's fascinating to me of all your accomplishments and where you've gotten in life and where you come from and things that have happened. So I want to start our journey in Spain, your native country.
Yeah.
So before all of this happened on this side of the world, there's some, we'll get into that,
Ooh,
but there's
it's really
there's
interesting.
some ships and stuff involved. But so what was going on in your life in Spain pre this side of the world?
Well, I was raised and born in Spain, as you said, and I have a beautiful family and the oldest of 3 siblings. I have another sister, which from the first marriage from my father. And I was, you know, a very happy kid where in my family environment, I was also working with my father, which was not an easy task, but he was a very successful show business producer. And since the age of 16, I was working with him. I was in the stage, producing operas, ballets, a lot of classical shows. And I was like at my very early stages of becoming a professional, I was dealing with hundreds of people. And I think that experience taught me a lot about how to manage and deal with personalities, with professionals, with people in general.
And artists tend to be very energetic, right?
Well, and when you deal with the diva and that singer coming from Milan, the opera singer, and I need my breakfast at 9, and I need my
So we're not that bad then.
No, that's why I'm dealing with divas. But, you are a diva for a reason, right? So you deserve it because probably you study like a lot. The amount of work that takes to be a diva. And I was doing some probably story about sports.
Right.
Everybody says, oh my gosh, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, they are amazing players. But you know how much sacrifice they put in every training.
That's true.
Or when people are leaving the training, they stay doing more tries and more shoots to the goalie, etc., etc. So that diva probably, had thousands of rehearsals to get that song perfect or that opera area perfect.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency. That's
I
what it's
agree.
all about.
So I was dealing with that show business production, and I was growing. I was with my father since I was 16 up to my age of 24.
And how did you like it? Like being young and then growing into it, I know because it was part of the family. But how did
I started to feel what stress is about it.
Really?
Because, you don't know what you don't know. And when you are dealing with a production, right, with more than 100 people in the stage between the orchestra and the singers and everybody, the technicians, and you have 1,000 people in the theater that they have paid a ticket to enjoy that opera, and the stress to make sure that all those rehearsals are paying off, that the lighting is perfect, everything is coming together, because
Right.
that's the main purpose of a big production. That little butterflies all the time in yourself is what is the stress.
Right.
And it's pretty much I will say that one of the advantages in my life has been dealing with that stress at very early
Yeah.
stage of my career.
Do you miss it?
I miss it because I think that it taught me a lot. I miss it, yes. The answer is yes. But it was also a very stressful job because you
Right.
work from Monday to Friday to put everything together, right?
Like the prepping and
The
everything?
prep, you need to talk to the truck driver to pick up all the customs, and then you need to hire the bus to pick up the whole company, and then you go to the theater and talk to the technicians and make sure that everybody's in their place. And then from Friday to Sunday is when the performance happens.
Oh, man.
And then you see the people coming to the theater 8:30. Everybody's ready, so we cannot delay the show.
Right.
So it's a lot of
Yeah.
things that one mistake ruins the whole production.
That's so cool. I never knew about that.
And so you've been working with family since a young age. From my own personal experience, I know that can be challenging.
It is.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Working with your father, for your father. Like how was the dynamic of that?
It was tough because my father is this kind of military sergeant, like, oh my gosh, everything is by the book, and one mistake, everything is your fault, and you feel like shit.
Yeah.
And it was tough growing up in that environment and having somebody that, was very hard on me.
Yeah.
For a reason,
Right.
Now, with the pass of the time, I understand that better. But when you are a
Young.
kid of 18 years old, you say, "What's the heck with my father?" Right? And we had so many arguments as a family because work and family was always related, right?
Yeah,
And,
Big challenge.
and it was very challenged, and that's probably actually one of the reasons why the next part of the story happened, right? Because I was so not overwhelmed, but I will say tired of living that experience of working for my father and see what could be next for me or what I will be able to accomplish by myself.
Like something that's yours.
Exactly, that I
Yeah.
accomplished by myself, and not just because it's my father dead. But anyway, I was like the last worker on the line because that's the way he treated me
Exactly.
for a good reason.
Right. It made you who you are today, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Definitely all those experiences, that we go through our childhood that are shaping us that we don't even know, we're unaware of. Because a lot of the times, I'm sure it has a lot to do with the leader that you are now, because you've identified the things that were very helpful in his leadership and the things that were not as helpful in his leadership.
Yeah.
And, it's what turned you into the great leader that you are. So,
I blame on him multiple times, multiple huge arguments, including my mom in the middle. And now I do not regret what happened, but that was definitely the way my father was raising me.
Right. That's awesome.
it's definitely a big challenge. So, one day you get on a cruise.
Wait. You get on a cruise. So tell me about this cruise.
That cruise changed the game. But so, same thing I said that my father was very hard on me. It was the best father in terms of rewarding the family. He was all about bringing the family together to travel all across the world, best places, best restaurants. And when you are living in Europe, the Caribbean is the top of the mountain, right? The peak of the
Oh,
mountain. Because
really?
going to the Caribbean is a big deal. Probably when you are here in the US, going to Europe is like the same thing, right? So he decided to book a cruise through the Caribbean.
Oh.
And the place where that trip started was in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Because it's
So you had to fly to Puerto
I need
Rico.
to fly from Madrid all the way to Puerto Rico. It was my first time, actually.
Out of the country?
Not at the country, but visiting the Caribbean. So I
Okay.
was super excited. And it was my first cruise. And I researched a little bit. Well, the internet at that time was not that today. But of course, there are some videos or some cassettes that you can play.
know,
That
right?
kind of
VH.
the old I am right today. But I was super excited. So I took that flight. I landed in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Beautiful place. I was amazed. And I was ready for the cruise. And my father is a little bit extra. Some of you have the opportunity to meet him. And he said, if we are going to the Caribbean, I'm going to book the cruise twice, not just one. We're going to do the first tour, And when everybody's leaving, we're gonna stay and we're gonna do a second.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
Because
No
he said
way.
traveling from Europe just for 7 days. No way. Let's do it the 14th. So we did it
I
twice.
love it.
The first one was great, and I was super, excited.
Were you tired or?
No,
you were-
no, because every day was a different island,
Oh,
and
okay,
it was very
okay.
cool. Just waking up every day in a different place. But by the second tour, I say, "Oh my gosh, once again!"
Yeah,
what's,
exactly.
what's the point? But in that second part of the cruise,
The second round.
yeah, in the second round,
Second time's a charm.
It is,
I don't know if you are familiar with, but in this kind of cruise, you have the captain night.
Oh yeah, yes.
That
That's
you need
right.
to dress very well.
Yes.
Everybody goes to dinner.
So you take your pictures.
Yeah, I was with my mom in the room. I was ready. I said, well, you know what? I'm gonna wait for you downstairs, and I'm gonna see the casino, whatever it is. And I was in the. It was a huge cruise. I was in the fifth floor, which is like the main course.
Okay.
And I saw this lady,
Really?
and I say, oh my goodness, 24 years old, and oh my goodness. So I went straight. She was with another lady, and I said in Spanish, "Vosotras andáis solas? Are you here
Yeah.
by yourself?"
Right.
And they like
So
because they
proper.
For real.
yeah, exactly, super proper. But they were thinking, what is this guy talking in Spanish? Because I look very white, and they were
Right,
thinking I was an
exactly.
American.
Un blanquito.
And she said, oh, and she said, yeah, we are. And then so pretty much we have a crunch, I would say, and we have an anticipated honeymoon, right, in that
Aw.
cruise. And
Was that the first night? Is Captain Night the first night?
no, I think it's the second or
The
the
second,
third. I don't
okay.
recall it, but it was during the cruise for sure.
Wow. And then you just hung out.
Man, it's like when you meet somebody and you get like this person is really special. But as any other story, the cruise ended up. I needed to go back to Spain, and she's a Puerto Rican, and she stayed in Puerto Rico.
Right.
So we are talking about 2004.
Wow.
So no WhatsApp or internet
Oh yeah,
or
I
calls.
didn't have that.
Well, internet it was live, but not with so many gadgets as today.
Right.
So anytime that we needed to call each other, it was costing a lot of money. Or if I want to travel to the US, I was 24. I was pretty much broke at that moment of my life. So it was costing a lot of money, to the point, just to make it the long story short, we decided to get married and trying to connect the story with my father. The idea was for Monica, my current wife, to go to Spain and work with our company, because my
Oh,
father,
really? Okay.
again, was very successful in the show business. I said, well, I can offer you a job, you can help me, and we can
And
develop this
what
company
did
together.
she say about that?
She was excited
Okay, that's good.
until I had another argument with my father, a
Gotcha.
very hard one. And
Yeah.
I say, you know what? Now that I'm in this middle of
Reroute.
this is the time for me to step up and embrace a new opportunity.
Gotcha.
And that's when I decided. I called Monica and said, you know what? Do not pack. I'm the one moving from Spain to Puerto
to
Rico.
Puerto Rico. Wow.
Mhm.
So how has that culture changed? Because I've been to Spain. I've been a little bit on that side of the world and everything. Going to this side of Puerto Rico, how was that culture shock? Especially being so family.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Puerto Rico is one of the most amazing places in terms of welcoming you.
Right.
I feel like home. The only thing it was a big challenge to me was the food.
Right. Oh, tell me
Because of
about
course,
the food.
I was, in Spain, for instance, you probably take rice once per month, maybe
Yeah.
in a paella or something that comes with
Yeah.
rice.
Right.
In Puerto Rico, pretty
Every
much you
day?
take daily. And I said, well, can we try something else apart of rice? So
Right.
that first, beginning of the relationship and the culture adaptation was like a little bit tough to me in terms of the food. But other than that, it was super clean. The transition was amazing. Of course, I was missing my family.
Yes.
And when
How
you are
did your
24
family feel like you leaving? How was that?
Well, for my mom, that I'm the oldest, for her, I think that she hated Monica for 7 years. Pretty much. She made very hard on Monica.
Yeah, at least it was only
Pobrecito
7
Monica.
years. Some mother-in-laws is for life.
for
Yeah.
life. That's true. That's true.
So she was very hard on her, but now they are like sisters. But the beginning were tough because think about it.
Yeah.
Monica was the one stealing the son
The
from
son
Spain,
away,
bringing
yeah.
it in Puerto Rico. So
Exactly. And how did Monica feel? Like, does she support you in your transition and everything? Does she want to make you feel comfortable?
she support me. She's a great woman. It is true that 3 days before getting the wedding set, she broke up with me and say, "This is too much
No.
to me. Let's cancel the wedding." I say, "Are you freaking kidding me? At this point of my life,
I
I always
know.
tell her
Right.
that." And my in-law was the one, "Hey guys, relax and sit down. This is normal. You are getting so stressful,
Oh
but
my.
we gotta figure it out."
That is amazing.
And I was thinking, what am I gonna do right now if this lady's breaking up with me?
You're like, shit, I'm here. Like, what the hell?
It was
That's
very
amazing.
interesting.
So, how did you get into your career and everything?
That's funny because, well, before getting into the career, I arrived to Puerto Rico like any other immigrant. Think about it. I'm from Europe
It's true.
and landing in a U.S. territory.
That is right.
I didn't have social, I didn't have immigration status. So I get married with Monica, and that immigration process for you to get your paperwork was like endless. Applying for multiple forms, waiting just forever to get a response on that plastic approval with your permanent resident or your work
Wow.
permit. And for months, I was at home.
Oh, wow.
I was killing myself because I'm very active and I want to
Yeah.
provide for the family, but I was not able to work legally.
Right, exactly.
But I found, I'm sorry, I hope that I'm not in trouble. I found a couple of jobs underground, like in a
Yeah.
couple of stores,
Yeah.
doing my best. I was actually cleaning bathrooms that I'm very proud and
Good.
about it, right? But that taught me a lot. That I was willing to contribute to the family because Monica was making probably $2,000 per month, and how the heck
Right.
we are gonna maintain the household?
That's an amazing story. Was that like mind wise, was that switching mentally in regards of you were so comfortable in Spain and this is something so totally different. You have to go through the whole immigration process and everything. How did you feel personally going through all of that? Were you frustrated?
I was frustrated. That's one of a good term for that. But I was also stressed because I'm somebody that, as I said, I'm very active and I want to always to find a way. And when you have, when you don't have the ability to control what you can control, like you are under the mercy of
I know.
immigration services or finding a job. I was in a new country applying for jobs like crazy. I'm thinking about what is my best thing to apply for. Can I just continue with the show business? Do I
Right.
transition to a new company and going to a new field? And going to your question, I was walking on the street and I found a big band with music passing in front of me saying, "Celebrate at the end of the month. If you want to purchase a home, we have the intent." I said, "What is
Really?
this?" And it was a mortgage company doing some advertisement to the public. I say, but in Spain, applying for a mortgage is the most boring thing ever. You go to your bank, you show a pay stub, and you get an approval, period.
And that's
Nothing
it.
else.
Yeah.
Here, they were celebrating that and say, wow. And I did research about what is a mortgage in the US, what happened with a mortgage when you apply, when you close on the loan, the secondary market, the Wall Street, all that stuff. And I was amazed. Oh my God, this is like a huge business. And I applied for a local bank in Puerto Rico that I'm so grateful because they put me in some kind of university for 3 months,
Okay.
an special intense course. And I was like, thanks God, the first guy graduating with a huge note. And they put me directly in one of the branches, and I started my career in the mortgage field.
Wow, that's amazing. That's such an awesome story, Hector.
That is a great story, Miguel. Definitely going from producing opera to mortgages, right?
I know,
Completely
totally
different fields.
Completely different.
So it's pretty cool and how you just did that organically, right? That it wasn't planned or structured or anything. So you're in Puerto Rico, and at this point, do you have kids?
I didn't have kids at that moment. I was 25 at that age, at that stage of my life. And my first kid, my daughter, was born in 2007. So I was 27 at that moment, yeah, when she was born.
Wow.
Okay, and then life changes.
It's another complete scenario because then when you get married or you are living with somebody, it's both of you with your dreams and your stuff. But when you have a little baby, then
That
the
changed the whole
attention and the
dynamic.
future and your goals change completely.
It
And-
definitely changes your mindset.
Yeah.
I speak from personal experience on that. So now you're 27, you're a new father, new country, new everything, right? And a new career. So how does that feel? And what are the challenges that you're facing in this new area of all these new areas of your life?
Well, now you start to thinking the future that you want to provide to your kid, right? And the opportunities that you want to bring and the legacy. And I learned at that age that, some great advice for everybody is to start saving. And we met actually a lady that said, when you have a kid, purchase a home. Remember that?
I remember
That taught me
her.
a lot. So I hope that if you have 10 homes, you are very productive. But definitely, I started to invest in at that age in real estate. I started to open my savings accounts and keep whatever money I was making. I was keeping something for my savings, and I was allocating something for personal development.
Okay.
Yeah, if I was making, I don't know, $5,000 month commission, I was keeping $500 for my saving accounts and $500 for my personal development.
That's good tip.
Yeah, I was pretty much saving 20% of my income, and I was trying to survive with the rest. But I said, man, if I'm able to make five, what else I can do to provide a better future to my family?
Right.
And I started to expand my business, and with my feeling of service and that elevating the service to the next level, I try to connect with as many people as I can, and being creative. I'm from Spain, so paella is a great plate.
Yeah.
I was doing in Puerto Rico paellas for every realtor and celebrating them, and I was trying to be different. Right?
And I don't think anyone knows that you're like a chef. You know how to cook and everything.
Well,
like
I think that going back to the original part of the story, I was missing my food, and I said, well, the only way for me to recreate my food in Spain is gonna be like be hard on me and start to become a
Cooking,
better
yeah.
chef and cook for me. And I was actually cooking for my in-law and Monica because they were working while I was waiting for my immigration status. So,
Right. Oh, that's so cool.
so every night that they arrive home tired from working 8 hours, their pasta plate or whatever plate was ready for them. So
Well, I know in Spain you guys take your siestas.
uh-huh.
How is that? Because we don't really do that over here at all.
I'm a different Spaniard because I don't take siestas.
Okay.
My family all they take it, but I'm not into that. Neither I smoke. Most of the people in Spain they are smoking, so I'm a different Spaniard.
Okay. I love it.
And food is definitely a great love language. It's a great way to express
yes.
that. And I've had the opportunity to try, your cooking, and it's very
Uh-huh.
good. So that is a cool way, different way of doing things, And I know that you became very successful in Puerto Rico, and you actually paved the way and did things differently over there. And so how did you end up here? What happened? What was the shift because life is great, You're making money, you're growing your career, your family's good. What changed? How are we in Orlando?
That's a great question. Actually, at the age of 30, I had my second daughter, so the family was complete. Family of four. We said a table for five is always more complicated than a table for four when you go to a restaurant. So it's perfect.
That's very true.
We stayed there. So I was in the peak of my career in Puerto Rico after 10 years, working so hard to develop my name and my reputation, and really, really on the peak. And something happened, some event at home. Unfortunately, crime at that moment in Puerto Rico was a little bit high, even though they were isolated places. But it touched me personally because somebody entered in our home during the middle of the night, and they were trying to rob some stuff, and they entered the house. My youngest at that moment, Amaya, she was like 2 years old.
Right.
And I found out what was happening. I was trying to get the guy and fight and all the stuff. And with the screaming, she even peed on herself. And I said,
That's
after that
terrible.
event, we were able to figure it out. That created a seed to say, this is a perfect place to start looking for another opportunity for my family, right? And that's why we ended up in Florida, trying to start from scratch once again. Remember my story? I came from
know.
Spain with $0 on my pocket, with no career, and building my profession from zero.
Because
And
the
now,
second time is always better, remember? The second cruise was better.
Yeah.
Now the second start was better.
Yes,
that's
I like that.
totally right. But when you are in your peak and then you need to go and start from the floor, it's tough. And that's probably a great message for everybody that is watching. It's okay to reset and restart your life because we pass through so many issues, personal, work related, you name it, and that's perfectly fine. At the beginning, you don't understand, and I was a little bit depressed, like how I'm gonna go to Florida and start knocking doors. Hey, I'm Miguel. Oh, great. Who the heck you are? You know, you are a new guy in town, a new kid in town. Great, but we don't know you.
Right.
So it started from zero. Your reputation, your name, your willingness to help and offer your service was a challenge, but I embrace it like any other change in life.
I love it because you found purpose in something difficult, right? And you took a difficult situation and you made something amazing out of it. You found your purpose, your why, and the reason why you do everything, because that's how we build the amazing things is on the hard foundation, the hard structure, and that takes a lot of will into it.
It's a lot because the same thing that Puerto Rico was so welcoming for me and my family when I moved from Spain. I can say that Orlando and Florida in general has been as well super welcoming, right? I didn't have any personal issue, but it's a different culture.
Right.
You are more by yourself, and everybody, lives apart, and there is not this connection of community, even though we try to build our communities. And it was
there
tough.
like a language?
That's also an issue because when I left Spain, I was 24. I was in public school. In public school in Spain, you don't get so much English education. So probably I learned that my house is big and my dog is brown. That's what I learned in the school. So when I transitioned to Puerto Rico, as you know, in Puerto Rico, mainly you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
So I moved in 2004, May to US, and my English is still in the books, working in the books, was zero.
Right. Wow.
Right. So and I needed to communicate in a new language and express myself in a new language, even though first generation immigrant, no roots in Florida.
Right.
And two girls, 4 and 7 at that age. My wife leaving as well the country, Puerto Rico, to establish in a new place, and it was a challenge. But
how did you do it?
I was determined. I was determined and say, I need to do it for my family. If I was able to do what I accomplished 10 years ago, why not in a new country? My father was very supportive to me. And he said, now is your time because in Spain, US is the maximum, right? Like, why is the biggest country in the world, the most powerful country. And he said, Miguel, now that you are in the US, you need to serve the Americans. And go and serve true Americans, forget about the Hispanic people.
I love it.
And I said, I'm going to try that, I promise to my heart. But of course, blood calls blood. And I started to do businesses here. And the first thing that people was asking, do you speak Spanish? Because there was a huge need of
there was
Hispanic. I said, yes, I do. Oh, perfect, because I have a bunch of clients that I don't understand. And I started my relationship with American real estate agents.
Really?
It was crazy, but they were missing business because they didn't speak Spanish. Totally. So even though my father was saying me, go and target the American demographic, I did it on purpose, but then I ended up serving the Hispanic
community. Yeah. That's amazing.
And that was like, at that moment, it was a huge need in Central Florida. Yes. And that helped me a lot to establish my name.
And I know there is a great story on how New American Funding in Orlando came to be. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Oh, yes. Remember I told you that you need to save some money to invest in yourself?
Yeah.
I have that formula for all my life. And I found out that there was a convention, actually, the National Hispanic Association of Real Estate NARED in Chicago. And I said, let's join because you always learn something new. You find a new mentor, a new tool, a new gadget. And in these conventions, if you are familiar, there is the traditional convention, but during the night, they have parties.
Yeah, they do.
And some of my realtor friends, he said, there is a party tonight. They call it white party. You need to wear some white clothes. And it's sponsored by New American Funding. I said, well, perfect. I didn't know who was New American Funding. So Monica and myself, we put some nice clothes. We went to the disco pub in downtown Chicago.
Oh, that's
It was a very cool place. And we went there with the expectation of drinking and having fun, and we like to dance, so it was like some kind of salsa place. And we went to the floor, we started to dance a little bit. And you know how is Monica? Monica is like a talker.
Yeah.
And she found somebody, actually it was a Puerto Rican guy living in Las Vegas.
Oh.
And I was with this dream when I moved to Florida to see, well, can I build something that will be mine?
Right.
and help people to find a home because, you see the whole opportunities that the U.S. Country offer to people, in general, right? So I was dreaming on that. And the guy said, you know what? You are asking me the perfect question because I'm a mortgage broker.
Oh.
And I own my company in Las Vegas for over 20 years. But you know what? I do not recommend you because Monica said to him, my husband wants to open something by himself. And he said, you know what? Based on my experience, I do not recommend you to do that. I'm still doing this and I still receiving daily lawsuits from people that are not paying. I needed to repurchase a lot of loans and that's killing me.
Yeah.
However, this lady that is in the middle of the party dancing, she's the owner of a great mortgage company. And if you want to build your stuff, I recommend you that instead of getting that weight in your shoulders,
Right.
you join an organization that can help you, but you can build your very own team, etc. And then, we started to dance in the middle of the party, and we
You
arrived
just
to-
went up to her, or?
I don't remember how it happened, but we were together, and apparently a realtor that was in the party knew her and introduced, and she knew about me already.
Really?
Remember everybody in those conventions, they do the research and they know who is coming,
Yeah.
production wise. Oh, I know that you are the new guy in Florida. You are doing good, and say good. But I didn't know who was her.
Yeah.
And it's like any other person that you meet, and she gives me her business card. I save it. The party was great. We arrived to the hotel room, and at that moment, the internet was faster and more efficient. So I Googled her. And I Googled her, and I said, Monica, what the heck? This lady's billionaire.
Oh,
And
shit.
and wow, look at her. But I was not looking for a job. I was good when I was working. I was trying to get more knowledge and stuff for my personal development. Long story short, we came back to Florida, and out of the sign, I received a text message from Patty, and she said, "It was my pleasure meeting you. I want you to explore more what my company is about it and my mission and vision." So we made an agreement. I traveled to corporate. I met with everybody, and I was totally in love with every department, the way that they are expanding. And at that moment, Gigi and Hector, I was making the move to a new company that didn't have any presence in the East Coast.
Wow.
They were a California company-based mortgage lender with no presence in the whole East Coast. I joined as the first individual.
That's amazing.
And they shipped me a laptop that says, "Welcome to New American Funding."
On a Monday.
And I said to Monica, "What the heck? What is next?"
Right.
Because we didn't have a branch, a team. It was my first year in Florida with some kind of reputation, but man,
Right.
it's a new beginning, a new way of resetting yourself, and going back to the beginning of the conversation, what you dream and when you plan,
Yes.
you make it happen. And then, I had that vision of putting a flag of New American Funding in every corner of Florida. It was a too deep goal, but today, 10 years after that move, I'm so happy.
You've really broke a lot of barriers. You're everywhere, which is where a lot of us as loan officers we really look up to because you're a really great leader and a lot of people know you.
It's great, but my best reward now that we switched from personal, family goals and everything, life changed by the moment that you are aging, right? And if you ask me what is my goal right now, in the past was personal production, doubling, getting that
Yes.
president
For
council,
council.
but now it's like how I can rise people up and how I can create opportunities for people because when people see challenges with the market, I see opportunities.
Always.
And my topic is domination. I know that despite of the struggles and everything happening, it's time for you, the new generation of leaders, to rise up and dominate this market. And that's what is really my passion today.
That's beautiful. That's so amazing. So let me ask you something. I'm going to get a little bit away from the career-wise, but how do you balance work and family? Do you have any hobbies? I hear that you play soccer.
Yeah, still playing soccer. That's why I'm under physical therapy right now, probably. at the age of 45, still doing crazy things. I have done a lot of triathlons and I love sports
Half
in general.
marathons. Have you done a marathon?
I have not, and it's a challenge that is there, but it's too much suffering. I don't know if I'm
I
gonna go
know.
through that. But I love sports. I love food. I love to go to nice places. I love to travel. But in the mortgage business, it's tough to combine all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because even though you can say, like Amir Said said, oh, you can go 30 days on vacation and forget about your email.
Yeah, right.
No, I love
know.
Amir, but it's difficult to accomplish,
Yeah.
right? Going back to your question, something that as a family we always kept like a non-negotiable was to take care of our daughters over the weekends, right?
Oh, that's
During the week, they're like, they are in the school, and during the next, they arrive and do their homework and they go early to bed. But weekends were dedicated to our daughters,
That's
no matter
amazing.
what. Parks, short visits to, I don't know, Clearwater or any special vacation. But we try to dedicate those weekends to them, even though you know that over the weekends the phone rings for any
I know.
emergency or new loan or whatever. I think that my daughters learned since they were very young that when the phone is ringing, they need to shut up
Right, exactly.
because it's something important for them. And I think that Monica has been instrumental because she has been more attached to the girls. And I don't say that they are not attached to me, but they know that they work so hard.
Exactly.
So she created the balance, and that's probably a message or a tip of advice for people. If one of the providers is more busy, make sure that the other one is taking more of your kids or your family
Right.
member because you need to create a
They're
balance.
the glue to the
Exactly,
like the family.
exactly. It doesn't mean that you don't love them more than the other person, but it's just to create that balance inside the family
Right.
itself.
Do you have sometime I think the world would like to know, especially work, it's not just in the mortgage world, but work wise, like when your kids go up to you like, oh, why are you working so much? You have no time for me. How do you mentally and physically work that out? Like
It's tough because they claim attention
Yeah.
and like any other kid. But I think that the best answer that Monica always says, yeah, because you like your bicycle, right? For you to get your bicycle, Papi needs to get that call. So-
see America, that's what you gotta do.
yeah, and that's a lesson from them because we raised them both are ladies for them to be independent
Yeah.
and do not depend on anybody else in their life to achieve whatever they want. And so they know that if you work hard on something, you will get it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, I love that. Now I know I go through that too with like my mom, and she's like, "Oh, you're always working so hard. You're always in a computer at like 9, 10 o'clock at night." I'm like, "Yeah, ma, pero you love your house, right?" I'm like, someone's gotta pay the bill.
Well, we are
So I
learning
get it.
as well with the pass of the time that there are ways to do whatever is needed during the work hours, right? And just dedicate ourselves to our family members. Some kind of emergency can happen, but that should be the exception and not the rule. But
Right.
you learn that like very late in the game. I wish to
Yeah.
know what I know 20 years ago,
Yeah.
right? How you set your team to take care of those diligence because
Delegate
probably
everything.
at 9 p.m. your mom deserves your whole attention
Yeah.
instead of you just doing it if the you gets the approval or not.
Exactly.
And that's why, I'm so proud that kids like you are now taking the leadership of getting a special training on how to build your team like Hector is doing right now today.
Yes.
Or finding the ways because there are always ways to make it better and improve the
true.
way that we work.
Thank you for sharing that story. That's a really cool story, honestly, very inspirational. So one thing I want to ask you is tell me one difficult moment in your life that you had to face, a dark moment, and how you overcame that moment.
There are a couple, right? Like any other family. I will say the moment that we moved to Florida, I landed here and we rented a house. Professionally wise, and I will say that also family wise, was tough because how you change your mindset from being a winner and an achiever and being able to provide to your family to a way where you are zero minus zero, where month after month you are in a new town, you are not making money at all.
Yeah.
So that was a dark moment, business related, and as I said, I was a little bit depressed because probably what was the need of changing that path,
Right.
right? And that's probably business related. How I overcame it, finally, coaching myself, and I think that the message that you send to your mind and the way that you talk to yourself is very important. And that's something that I would love to bring to the next sales meeting, because if we are all day saying this market is tough, I'm not capable to do it, it's gonna be impossible. That kind of information is what resonates with you.
Yeah, it's negativity.
But if you wake up today with that energy, despite what happened, I'm gonna make it. I'm capable. I'm somebody very special. I have the energy. I have the ability to change people's life. If you arrive to the office with that energy, you will kill it.
Yes.
And that's about the message that you send to yourself. And I was sending the wrong message to me until one day I said, if you make this movie for a reason, let's wake up today, let's do what it takes, and finally everything changed. But I was in that mood for 2 or 3 months with some kind of depression
Right.
about the roller coaster of emotions. But I overcame it, and the rest is history, and it's
And look
lessons
where
that
you're
you
now.
learn.
Yeah.
That's probably business related, and I will say personal related. The moment I moved to Puerto Rico, going back, it was tough leaving your family because we were a super attached family where all Sundays my mom was cooking and all the brothers and sisters were there with my father. And missing that point was tough. And going now, the recent times, going after my dad's health, that has been very delicate. He has been in hospital back and forth. And unfortunately, he's in a difficult situation life-wise because there is no way to cure his diseases right now. But I was able to travel to Spain a couple of days ago to meet him. I spent 5 beautiful days. And even though it was dark at the beginning, because unfortunately we know that sooner or later that's going to happen, I'm in peace now because I was able to share some quality time for 5 days, thanks to you as well, guys, that took ownership of the business.
Of course.
And I feel in peace. I know that he's suffering. Thanks God he's under some kind of narcotics to control the pain and everything,
Right.
but my heart is in peace.
That's beautiful. Because that takes a lot, like, especially knowing that situation, what's going to end up happening. But you feeling at peace is like,
Yeah.
okay, I can move on and I'm always going to be there for the family and everything.
And
so.
you relate to so many people that we serve because
Yes.
when you have your family in the other side of the world or in South America and somebody's passing or they are sick and you're here, you cannot travel because your immigration status, whatever. So
Yeah.
I think that make us very relatable to the customers that we serve because we understand the pain. We have been passing through that immigration status to those personal issues of life, right?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
You know, Miguel, I can see a common denominator in your story, and in every moment of your life, you found something that pulled you towards what you want, that you gravitated towards your purpose, because you've mentioned it several times. You dream it and then you build it. And that's amazing because we always need that plan, that floor plan to build something. We can't just go around doing crazy things. I mean, maybe we could, but it's not going to be as strategic. And you've built this region with such intention and such purpose, and you have a vision, and I love it just because it just makes you the great leader that you are. Same thing that applies to your personal life. So I could see why you've been so successful, you know, and that's something that I definitely applaud. Is there anything you would do different at this point of your life?
Yes and no. Yes, I will do different in so many things because of the knowledge that you have today, how you manage people, the opportunities that you give them, why I didn't penetrate that idea before. You regret so many things, but at the same time, it's the way that God and myself, we wanted to happen, right? So it would be ideal now to build a region with all the experience, right? But I think it was necessary to pass through some hiccups so you can, delegate better, create better opportunities for people when you didn't pass for the right struggle. And going back to the title of this podcast, I Wake Up Today. We are super positive and that's the way to go, but we don't wake up today with good energy every day. We don't wake up perfectly fine going to attack your day, right? In nobody here for sure, but the way that you fight with yourself that day that you don't feel good, because if somebody is waking up every day with energy and ready to kill it, great for you, but that's very difficult to happen. We are human beings, and our mindset is, I think, is wired to protect ourselves and put some fear and some influence to do not go to that place because it's uncomfortable and it's putting us in risk. But the ability to fight with yourself when you don't feel good, I will say that from this podcast that we are over 30 minutes already probably, if I can send a nice message to somebody that is watching this for the first time, try to have that trigger that reverse the way that you are feeling, because the message that we send to our mind is going to be the reflect on your interaction with your significant other, with your work, with your customers,
Yeah.
with everything in
And
life,
with
right?
yourself too.
And it's so easy to be absorbed by negativity, and it's difficult to reverse it. And that's
Yes.
probably part of why so many people are depressed. They ended up with alcohol and addictions, and it's because they don't know how to fight that negativity in themselves.
Right. It's true.
And the main message is like find that trigger, that kryptonite that you can put over there to remove that negativity from you.
Now, Miguel, with you saying that, what would you say to your younger self?
I love these powerful questions. I would say that honesty and always putting other people's first before any decision in life, family wise or business related, is the best blessing that can be your best friend along this ride of living a life.
Right.
Being honest and put other people's interests first. And in everything that you do. That has been my secret sauce.
Yeah. That's
And
beautiful.
it's my best friend, my best business co-worker, that kind of feeling of doing the right thing at any time.
As long as you feel good inside, I
Yeah.
think that's what matters.
So, and even though cannot work because of the business decision, you feel in peace because
Yeah.
you did the right thing. Maybe
Right.
it was not the right decision, but you did the right thing.
Right. That's beautiful. I love that. Aw,
So
thank
we
you.
want to know one habit that keeps you strong.
One habit that keeps me strong, I think, waking up in the mornings with an intention. So I learned from my father, and it's amazing. I'm talking about 30, 40 years ago without technology, the importance of waking up with a purpose. So every night before he was going to bed, he was writing in a piece of paper, so very old fashioned, the duties and the important things to accomplish by the next day.
Ooh, wow.
And he'd roll it up and put it inside his watch. So next morning, he's a gentleman that he always uses his watch. Next Monday, that when he's ready for the day, he put his watch and he reviewed the
his
piece of
paper.
paper. You want to have a purpose.
I love that. Wow, that's beautiful.
Live with purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, live with purpose
Live
for
with
sure.
purpose. And what is next for Miguel Mouriz?
I love it. That's my question every day I wake up. What I ambition is to enjoy the expansion of what we are building. And expansion doesn't mean to get crazy, is to make sure that everybody that currently is working for us goes to the next level economically and professionally, because we keep the records of how people enter in this company, how much money they were making, how much money they are making today. The idea is how you guys can, in general, every coworker can achieve financial freedom,
Yes.
can leverage your investment to create your future retirement. How you can help other people, because it's not only about us. So we are probably changing realtors' lives,
Right.
customer life, builders' life, making sure that we accomplish the common goal of closing loans. And what is next in my life is to make sure that eventually I can see the region from the outside, managing some stuff, probably, I don't know, like an APM, and helping. I love structuring deals and be that guy in the shadows that can put some love into the region, but raising people up.
You saying that kind of correlates when you worked in the opera, like orchestrating everything, like all of that, like the behind the scenes.
You
It
know
kind
what-
of goes into full circle.
You know
Just
what was
thinking
the
about
role
that.
that I really loved in the opera time was like when I was sitting in the lighting desk, because the lighting desk is in the end of
The back.
in the theater, right? And you see the whole stage, all the audience, and you were like moving the lights depending on the act or whatever was happening in the stage. And behind the scenes, right? Nobody sees that person working. It was an experience, and when everything was ending up and the curtain was going down, and you see the audio
Yeah.
going to that huge applause for minutes, and saying bravo, bravísimo, like the email I sent the other day. Wow, that experience was amazing. So probably going in that side of the business where I'm not attached to the consumer, but I see the whole process, how a loan is coming together and getting approved and funded on time, and having the great review for the team, and also enjoying the struggle because there is no perfect loan.
No.
Even though we put our
I
energy and we have a lot of filters and stuff, we know that after 20 years in this business, some stuff is gonna happen.
Always.
And how you solve that problem always with the good communication. Remember, because you guys are great, but there are so many professionals that they want to hide what is happening, and that's when the problem gets bigger.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
But with the right information, sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly, I would love to enjoy that part of the business.
Yeah.
That's a cool next step. It's a cool next step.
It is.
Well, Miguel, thank you so much for sharing your story. Honestly, it's been truly inspirational. Even though I've heard it before, I never get tired of hearing it because it just every little time I learn something new. And just your dedication and your passion towards your career and your life and your family, everything that you have built so beautifully, and the struggles of an immigrant, it's just truly, truly inspiring seeing everything that you've done. And actually, the fact that I get to live in it and see your work is just very inspirational. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time. And I know that we try and keep this as short as possible. It's hard. Sometimes podcasts can run up to 3 hours, but we're trying to keep it very short. But it's just such good content. There's so much more that we could share about Miguel. Maybe he'll come back and visit us another time, right? So thank you so much for having us. Just a lot of gratitude, and continue to do the great work that you do. Definitely. And please follow, visit, and also subscribe.
Yes,
Keep on forgetting that
subscribe,
part.
comment. Let us know what you like and what you don't like or anything like that. We really look forward to hearing from the audience as well.
Yes.
And we hope that we're bringing some good valued purpose in life, waking up, different tips and trades of everything. And I really, really appreciate that you're actually opening up, because I know a lot of people don't know some of your story, but I think everyone has a story in life. Everyone has a story. And there's stories that keep changing. We just keep evolving. And that's what I love about what we're doing for everybody, you know? And we have a beautiful saying that we always do.
Yes.
So,
Wake up,
show up, live up.